I actually tried chasing my dreams for 2 years and I absolutely failed. I remember I was 18 years old and I told myself, I'm seeing a lot of people be successful and I'm gonna give myself 3 years to be successful. All right, I'm gonna go 3 years working hard and just trying everything I possibly can so I become a full-time entrepreneur. Right? So for the first year, what I was doing was I was not as focused. I would say 100% as because I remember my path to success at the time was I'm trying to become a real estate agent, right? I'm like, okay, I can become a real estate agent. I'll try a lot of different things too, but I'll be trying to become a real estate agent. But I can't become a real estate agent until I turn 21 years old, right? Or at least that's what I was thinking. 2 years later, of course, or a year later, I ended up finding out I can do it right then and there at 18 years, at least as long as you're 18. By the time I remember, I was being told by this other former real estate agent that I had to be 21 years old, right? So anyway, so at 18 years old, I'm like, okay, boom, I'm about to be 20, I'm about to be 19 in like a couple months. But I set that goal, right? It was November 2019. I set that goal, or December 2019. I set that goal, like, okay, I have until November 2022 to be a full-time entrepreneur, to be super successful, and not be doing this 9 to 5 stuff, right? And I remember I'm like, you know what, let me go at it. And I remember the first few months I'm like, okay, I locked in on my 9 to 5 job. I'm trying to save as much money as possible, and I've tried a lot of different things, right? During that time, I remember one of the things I was watching at that time, right? I'm like, I didn't really care how I was going to become successful. If it was going to be something before I even get to the real estate part, like I said, I was waiting to be 21 at that time, then of course that's fine. I'll wait and do that. But I'm like, if I can find something a little bit sooner, I'll try. So I'll walk y'all through everything I tried, right? So first, I remember I tried wholesaling real estate. I even was recording myself. If you don't know what wholesaling real estate is, essentially you contact the landlord, right? So you do something called driving for $1. So you drive around and you're looking for distressed properties. So properties that have broken glass, unkept grass, and just beat up, right? Does not look nice. But in a relatively good neighborhood. And then you call the landlord by skip tracing. There's websites you can do something called skip tracing. And what that means is you essentially can find the owner of the actual property and call them to actually get the information on the property and see if they're willing to sell it to you. Right now, of course, as a broke 18-year-old, 19-year-old, all right, like, I don't have any money to buy this house, but the hack is you get it under contract and you use something called an assignment clause to be able to assign it to a real estate investor, right? So the landlord sign over, like, hey, we're gonna give it to you, and then you have this secret clause in there, and then you give it to find a real estate investor, and then you can sign it like, hey, real estate investor, you're gonna want to buy this property. And then say, for example, you got the contract under $400,000, you assign it over to a real estate investor for $130,000. Of course, they would still do that because they can get some profit in there after they fix it and flip it, right? So that's why they will buy it for $130,000, right? So you want to get it for a really discounted price, right? If you can't get it on a discounted price, then it doesn't make sense. Then of course you're not gonna make any money from it. All right, so that's the whole hack to it. And I remember I started learning from this guy named Kong, absolutely amazing teacher. Just watching his free YouTube videos, right? I was watching a bunch of courses, studying, taking notes and stuff like that. And then I tried calling, right? I remember I was driving for $1. It's called driving $1. I was driving around and I write down the name of the properties, the addresses, and I'll skip trace online and I'll call the owners, right? When I called the owners, what ended up happening was, I recall I was getting cussed out. I remember I was getting cussed out. What was it called? Like on the phone, like, yo, like, stop freaking calling me. I'm not selling my property. And then I'm like, hey, they like, I know you're a wholesaler, and then they're like against wholesalers because they know you're about to flip your property into that. But I guess I was really just more timid. I didn't really know sales, right? So I really didn't have any pushback, and I was going off a script that I would get offline and stuff like that. And I drove for $1. I had a bunch of properties in my notes and stuff like that. I tried calling. Of course, they say try calling 100 times a day. I was not calling no damn 100 times a day, maybe 10 times a day. And I tried that for months and months and months, and no closes, no nothing. It wasn't really getting anywhere, right? So then I'm like, okay, let me pivot into drop shipping, right? So I already knew what drop shipping was. I tried drop shipping at that time, and then I remember I started drop shipping. So what I would do, so that's one thing. Boom, failed at the wholesaling, right? Then I tried drop shipping, right? So I tried drop shipping. If you don't know what drop shipping is, essentially you create a website online and then you list a bunch of products, but the products, you don't really own the products, right? You connect it with a wholesale account essentially, or with an account where they're gonna, like, where the suppliers are gonna essentially be able to sync up with the actual buyers essentially. So as soon as somebody purchases it from your website, you upcharge it. Say for example, you get it from the supplier for each product, let's say $5, you're selling it for $25 and you take a $25 profit essentially. Of course, you're gonna have to pay tax and fees and stuff like that. All right, so that's essentially what drop shipping is. And then I created a website. I remember I studied so many hours of how to create my website, how to build the landing page, everything of that sort, and I created it. And then I remember the first thing I was selling was jewelry, right? I started marketing, posting on my social media, on my Instagram, on my Snapchat, no sales, right? And then I remember what I ended up doing was I ended up ordering some of those products and start selling physically. So I was getting some sales because I could market it myself. I was aware of the products and I started selling the products myself. And that was going, really, really good. As far as like getting a couple sales, it wasn't like worth it because okay, I'll get something for $40 and I'm selling it for $60, $20 profit. Okay, that's good. And getting a little bit extra money was something. I'm like, okay, I seen some money now, right? Unlike a wholesale, I seen some money. And then I remember for the drop shipping, I ended up looking at like some videos. This guy named Biaheza, and he was talking about how you really want to find products that is for a target market, right? And then find an audience for that target market fit essentially, right? So what I did was I'm like, okay, I'm testing a bunch of different products. I'm like, what would catch my eye, right? So you want to find viral worthy products. At the time, there wasn't like a bunch of short form content that people were really making. It wasn't like popular for short form content really, unless you're really on Instagram, which you have to have a massive account. So I'm like, okay, I don't have a massive account. Then I found out from Biaheza that that's the guy name, that you can essentially pay influencers to just market your product for you. So say for example, an influencer with 50,000 followers, they might be like, hey, for a story post, it's $100. And of course, I'm like, whoa, if I spend $100 on it, because I'm working my 9 to 5 at the time, I'm like, if I spend $100 on this, and like, if I spend $100 on it and I don't make this money back, like, you know what I'm saying, then I'm out $100. And that's like, well, at the time, that's like a whole day of working. That's like 8 hours of working. I'm like, yo, what am I gonna do? So I'm like, you know what? I gotta take the chance. I gotta take the risk. So, and then the hack that he had was, instead of paying that, try to find the peak time. And he like peak time that it'll get the most views on their stories would be around like 4 to 6 p.m. something like that. And then he's like, okay, and then ask them, can they post it on their story for like 2-3 hours, and then for only $25? And it's like, oh, and it's like they were like, oh. At that time, that's when the majority of their followers, who are actually going to purchase, even buy, because they're on lunch breaks. Also, there was some logic behind it, and it made sense. So instead of paying $100, I'll only pay $25 essentially for like, okay, say for example, if it was $100 for 24 hours, then I pay $25 for whatever, a quarter of that essentially, right? So that was the hack right there. I'm like, okay, I like that. So then I started trying that, and that's what I was doing. And I remember I even reached out to a bunch of influencers, reaching out, hey, I'd love to pay for a story promo, whatever the case may be. And then I have my landing page. They will sync it, they will post onto their story, and then of course, they will drive traffic to my website. The first one I found it was like an Asian lady account, and I remember I was selling some winter leggings, right? I was selling some winter leggings, and that's what I was selling. And as soon as I posted on there, I paid her $5. She posted at $5. It was $5 for a few hours, whatever the case may be. $5, and then I remember I made $40. So it's like I literally just got a $35 profit essentially, right? Well, after paying fees on the actual product itself, I think it came down to like $20, $15, something like that after the actual product fees. And I'm like, yo, what? I paid $5, made $40. Like, this is absolutely incredible, because I remember she posted it and I got 2 sales off of that. Off bat. And I'm like, okay, I like this a lot. And then I forgot what it was. I forgot what the issue really was, but I could not fulfill the order for whatever reason. I kept pressing fill. I could not fulfill the order. and it was taking forever. And then I think the person ended up refunding, right? They ended up wanting a refund, whatever the case may be. And then they got the refund. And then, so I didn't make any money off that. I didn't see that money hit my account. And then what had happened was, okay, I'm like, I see it work. And I tried paying a bunch of other people to promote that product. And it was like a winter leggings. And it had cotton inside. It was like warm. And then I'm like, okay. And I tried paying the lady again. I wasn't getting any more sales. I paid by $40. And then, so essentially what I paid the first time, the sales I ended up getting, I ended up paying that back to her, and I didn't get any more sales after that. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me try a different product. I'm like, I need better ads, right? So I'm doing organic ads at this time, whatever the case may be. Organic in the sense of I will go into TikTok, because TikTok was around at this time. I go to TikTok, and then what I would do was I would clip a bunch of videos from TikTok. And it was like people using that product already. So I'll find a product and I'll search the product and I'll see people using it. I'll save the videos without the watermark and I'll use that and I'll clip a bunch of them together. And then I try running ads on those and they got strike down because like with the meta ads, like, this is, I guess, is unoriginal, whatever case may be. So my ad account went down and I'm like, okay, let me try the influencers again. And I found the influencer. It was like, I'm like, okay, it was a detangling brush I was selling this time. I'm selling a detangling brush. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try selling this detangling brush, but who is the target audience for this? Black women. I'm like, okay, detangling brush, it makes sense for black women. So I found black influencers, black creators, and I paid them. It was $25, right? That was the cheapest I got, $25. Maybe $10. One guy, maybe. Don't quote me on that. But we're around $25, $50. I'll pay them. They'll drop the story, and I started getting a lot of sales with this too. I started getting a lot of sales. But also, once again, ran into that problem. I could not fulfill it. I don't know what was going on at the time. I guess it was a lot more difficult, but I was not able to fulfill it at that time. And like fulfill essentially means you have to go on the website of where you're connected to for the actual product itself, and you press fulfill, and fulfillment will always fail. I don't know what it was, and that was the thing that was limiting me. So I'm like, I just gave up on it, right? I gave up on it. I'm like, okay, if I keep making money with this thing, but I cannot actually fulfill these orders, there's absolutely no point with this, right? But once again, I dropped it. I'll move on to the next thing. I'm like, you know what? Okay, I know this works, but the issue is that I'm not able to fulfill it, right? So I'm like, and I think one of the fulfillment ended up going through, but what happened was also refund because the product was gonna take like 60 days to get to the person. It was absolutely insane. It was taking way too freaking long. I remember taking months and months and months. I fulfilled like one or two of them, and it just was taking forever. I'm like, okay, I know there's potential with this, but like I'm not able to fulfill it, and then when I am able to fulfill it, it's taking months for this person to get the actual product itself. I'm like, this isn't, like, I know if I'm waiting months, I don't want that product, right? So I'm like, you know what, let me just order these products in bulk and then sell them. So once again, I'm like, let me start ordering the product because I'm like, I know it works. I'm like, let me order these products. So I remember doing a bunch of research, and I remember I saw someone selling AirPod cases on Snapchat. And I'm like, okay, this, and she was making a bunch of money off this, right? It's like, oop, no, it's gone. I'm like, let me try this. So I ordered a bulk of those as well too. And then holidays coming around, like Valentine's Day was coming around. So this is all within that 2 years, y'all. This is all within 2 years. Things I'm trying, right? So I ordered a bulk of those. It was a rose bears because I'm like, okay, because I remember I was about to buy one for my girl, right? And I'm like, okay, if I'm about to buy one for my girl, it was like literally in high school. I remember I'm like, yo, so I remember, and now I really into dropshipping. I'm like, okay, I know you can literally. I tried it in high school too when I tried to buy one for my girl, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is a dropshipping store because I already knew what dropshipping was in high school. And I'm like, I can just order a bulk of them. And I remember at the time I ordered like a few of them, and I sold it to some friends at the time. I had some left, so I made a little bit of money off that too. So I'm like, let me try that again. So I ordered these rose dogs, and I ordered a bunch of Valentine's Day themed stuff, and I ordered what was it called, the AirPod cases, right? So I started selling them. The AirPod cases, they came about to like $5 per AirPod case, and I was selling them for $15 to $20 per AirPod case. Right, low is $10, so at least I'm doubling my money. So that's what I was doing, and I started selling the AirPod cases and stuff like that. I was making so much money. I was making like extra $100 $150 a day. Some days 200. I think first day I made $300. Yeah, a little over $300. I'm like, yo, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's way better than I was making my 9-to-5 job. And I tried that, and extra $300. I'm like, okay, this is really great. This is really great. So I'm making some money, and I'm selling them. And then it really got to a point where they just weren't selling anymore, right? But like I sold out really on all of them, all the best ones, I should say. I had like a few more left. I think I ended up getting another bulk order, and that one was actually what was left over. I had some leftover because at that point I wasn't really selling online. It was really more of the local people around me. So I tried selling those as well too, and that also was making me a little bit extra money, of course. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, a few extra $1,000, because I remember on like total bulk order was like a little over $2,000 of my own money, right? $2,000 I put on my credit card. Then I'm like, I just was paying it back as I was getting these products in, right? So $2,000 what I spent, like $2,500 or so. I spent $2,000 on a bulk order. Like, I'm trying everything possible, and then I'm reselling them. I really was reselling them. And then the Rose Bears, I'm selling them. I remember delivering some at like 2 a.m. because it was like all more local people at my job. I'm like, hey, I'm selling these things. And what I was saying was, I'm like, hey, I made them from scratch. You know what I'm saying? So it made people want to buy it more, because like, oh, I put the effort to make it, when it's like, really, I just purchased it online and I'm reselling them, right? It's like, if I said it like that, people don't want to support it. But if I said I made them, then, you know, people want to like, okay, I bet, you know, you made them, I like it. So that's what I was saying. I'm like, I made them, but it's like, yo, you still want this for your significant other. And those Rose Bears also and Rose Dogs were selling. They were selling. A lot of people were buying them. They were absolutely going crazy. People were buying them. It was selling. So yeah, that was another thing. And then of course, like I said, it got to its cap. Made a few $1,000s from it. It got to its cap. Nobody was really buying them anymore. And then Rose Dog, Rose Bears, and Valentine's Day, it was like a glass dome with flour in it. They just had like season, right? And I didn't really market as much as I could have during that season. I have to wait a whole nother year. Okay, cool. So now what do I do, right? So I've tried everything. I've tried a bunch of different things. Those work. I've seen what work. I've seen what does not work. I've tried a lot of different things. And, you know, at the end of the day, it still ended up come crashing out, because I still end up, because I remember I ordered another batch, right? And then I never ended up selling those. So I ended up losing more money. So I'm not really sure how much I profited with all that, right? So I'm like, all of this, I was trying all these things so I can have something consistent to make actual real revenue to be able to quit my 9-to-5. But all this was making me a little extra money. It was not something I could quit my job, right? It was not something I could actually quit my job. And finally, like I said, I realized I could actually get my real estate license without being 21. So I went ahead and I got my real estate license. I got my real estate license, y'all, and I tried real estate. My first client I was working with, I worked with them for a few months, you know, about to get them a house. And I remember the day we finally secured the property, about to get them the property, what had happened was they broke up, right? They broke up after working with them for months. If you don't know, as a real estate agent, you take commission, right? You take commission. So it's like, I made absolutely no money after working all them hours for a few months, you know what I'm saying? And then what I did was, everything was being funded through my card, my credit cards, my savings and stuff like that. My money was going down. And I'm trying to be an entrepreneur. And so this is all within those 2 years, y'all. So literally, I remember my car ended up breaking down, and it was $7,500 to get it fixed. My engine blew out, right? Or it was my transmission. My transmission, I believe, actually. One of those. My engine, actually, no, it was my engine. Ended up blowing out. And I was like, yo, what the heck do I do? I don't even have the money. I remember I had just paid $3,000 to get my real estate license, because you have to pay for brokerage fees and then the actual license and stuff, like $50. And I failed the real estate exam three times. I failed it 3 times, over and over and over. Every single time you have to retake it. I think it was like a $50, so $150. After retaking. And then all this time, remember, I'm working on a 9-to-5 job, so to dedicate time towards this thing I'm trying to be successful in, I was working less hours, right? So I'm making less money. I'm still providing for my family back in Ghana. And of course, I'm paying rent, right? I'm paying rent to my dad. I'm still taking care of myself. I'm still buying food. I don't cook, so I'm eating out every single day. And then also trying to just enjoy myself, right? And I'm paying for a lot of, because I had a Camaro, and of course gas guzzler. Gas was going down, the car broke down, and then had an Uber, all types of stuff like that while the car was down, and then all those things was just eating up my bank. And then next I know was I was in $20,000 of credit card debt, trying to actually become an entrepreneur, trying to be successful in business. I was in $20,000 credit card debt at 20 years old, y'all. Right? I'm like, everything was going wrong, and I'm like, what in the world do I do? I'm trying everything. I'm trying all these little things that people are telling me online. I'm trying every single thing, but everything is just going downhill. What in the world do I do? Right? So I really was losing a lot of hope. I felt like, yo, I'm trying, and it's just not going. I'm like, at this point, it's been 2 years. I told myself I was giving myself 3 years. I'm nowhere near actually accomplishing my goals, and it's been 2 years. What the heck am I gonna do with this last year? Right? I'm like, it's only a year left, y'all. But this is where everything absolutely changed. After those 2 years, I did not give up. I remember 2022, beginning of 2022, January, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do next. And I remember that time a few months back, I had met one of my friends who also tried dropshipping in high school, and I didn't know I thought I was the only person doing dropshipping back then. He like, no, I was trying that too. I made extra couple thousand in one summer, when I was like 15, 16 years old. I used my mom's social, and I'm like, yo, what the heck? So I felt like one of the things I was missing was just like-minded people, because all this time I was doing it all by myself. And I'm like, if I can find like-minded people, even if we're both stupid, you know what I'm saying? Even if we're both broke, if we just put our minds together, two minds is greater than one, right? So I'm like, let's just put our heads together and see where this go, right? So we locked in on 2022, January 2022. And we started being each other accountability partner, and we're like, you know what? Let's try something else. Let's try content, right? Let's try content, because I had tried content back in high school, made a couple $100 a month and stuff like that. But what was happening was my videos were getting strike down, or copyright strike. Yeah, copyright strike. So I wasn't getting paid off those. I was getting demonetized. So I'm like, you know what? Let me try it again. And this time I'll try with short form content. That's the big thing right there. So we decided to be each other accountability partner, right? So through the failure of wholesaling real estate agent itself, being a realtor, drop shipping, buying products physically, reselling them. So reselling products, all those things. Reselling products was the thing that made me the most amount of money from those things. As far as like, okay, I was making money, then I'll lose some, like, because I also did in high school as well too. And then I tried wholesaling, no money. Try being a real estate agent, not really making the money. Tried reselling products, made some money, significant money, but yeah, decent. And all these drop shipping, a few $100s, and then I'm like, what do I do? What in the world do I do? Went to content. I'm like, but the thing is, I'm like, when I felt like giving up, I'm like, yo, I remembered you only fail when you give up, right? Everything has been a lesson learned. I can apply these things on the next thing, right? So then I'll start making content about, how to get your real estate license. Come on, yo, I got my real estate license, so I make content about that. Because I remember I got into real estate because I'm like, yo, maybe this thing help me make my first 6 figures and stuff like that too. Because I was seeing a bunch of videos you make 6 figures. I'm like, okay, I know it's possible, it just wasn't working for me. So I'm like, okay, here's how to get your real estate license, as step by step, because I'm like, maybe I can make tutorial based videos. And the thing I was good at, because I told you I was in $20,000 credit card debt at the age of 20 years old, but the real question is, how did I get $20,000 of credit limit at 20? That's the real question right there. And it's because I was really excellent with credit. I have really been learning about credit a lot, and I really love it. I was a credit nerd. I wouldn't stop talking about credit. I was trying to get all my friends to do credit, and I remember I used to do my own taxes and stuff like that too. So I was really into general personal finance. I was really good at saving money, and because I would teach my friends how to save money. All those things I told you guys I was funding. Guess what? It was all my money. I was using my credit now, use that to pay it off. I was really good with that. And then it just, when everything was back to back to back, I went through my savings, and then was working less, so I can be an entrepreneur, making less money, still high expenses every single month, because I'm still supporting my family back home, myself out here, and I'm only making so much money, right? So all those things, I'm like, let me just at least teach about that knowledge, because I remember I'm like, it's still a skill set, right? Because you cannot escape credit. So I started talking about credit, I started talking about personal finance, saving money, and how to get your real estate license, all the things that I knew of. And I started talking about side hustles. I'm like, I've tried this side hustle, this side hustle, because even before those 2-year span, I tried many different side hustles, right? So I started talking about all those things, all my experiences, right? The ones that I tried that worked, that didn't work. So I tried talking about all those things. Just from talking about those things, I start making money from that. I remember a brand, or not even from the people watching the content, but a brand started like, yo, we want to get in front of this audience. You have a massive amount of people that's following you, supporting you. What if we paid $2,000 to make an ad for us, right? I'm like, yeah, 100%. You know, at first one was $1,000, and I'm like, what? I just got paid $1,000 to spend 30 minutes to make a piece of video. That's only 30 seconds. You know, record the video, edit it, you know, make it look nice, send it back to them. 30 minutes, and then I'm like, maybe this is something. And then got another brand like, we want to pay $2,000. You're like, you know what? Make that $18,000 because we want multiple. We want $22,000 per video. That's when everything completely changed, y'all. I went from, you know, I was right on the verge of giving up, but because I didn't give up, I kept going. That last year where everything felt hopeless, within 6 months of actually doing content, I was able to quit my 9-to-5 job. I started traveling, started living a much better life and having like actual freedom, right? At that point, I had time freedom and location freedom, because I could work from anywhere in the world. Because I remember I was literally went to Cancun with my girl, and I was able to literally be there, still make money, because I was still doing sponsorships. I got $800 sponsorship while I was out there. I'm still doing my content, still recording while I was out there, and making money from that, y'all. So that has been the thing, and the lesson here is the fact that I did not give up, even when I felt like giving up. I'm like, yo, I told myself 3 years. On my second year, I'm nowhere near. And then, you know, went ahead that final year, I was able to absolutely change my life, and I did not give up, y'all. So when you feel like giving up, remember, you only fail when you give up, y'all. You only fail when you give up. 2 years of failure, and that third year, everything completely changed. It made everything so worth it. I'll do it all over again. It made everything so worth it, because guess what? It don't matter that I failed 3, 4, 5, 10 times, because guess what? All I need is one success, right? You can shoot a dart at the board 20 times. If you hit it one time, that's all it takes, right? You can shoot it 100 times. If you hit it one time out of the 100 times you hit it, that's all that matters, because guess what? I'm still making tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and now millions of dollars online because of the fact that I took that leap of faith. I did not give up, right? So I want to make this a lesson learned. Don't give up. Stay consistent. Find like-minded individuals that's, you know, on the same wavelength, because after I found that one person, I start finding more and more people, because I'm like, I need more people like this. And guess what? We all started from the bottom, and then the next person that joined us, they just had a similar mindset. We had to help them elevate a lot faster. And the next person that joined our little circle, boom, he got to $5,000 a month way quicker than we did, and he got to 100 his first 6 figures way quicker than we did, because of the fact that we were able to then teach them, you know, all the things that we did wrong and how they can fast track. And then they taught us, oh, you can make money with this, and then everything just absolutely exploded, and now we all are making hundreds of thousands of dollars and even millions of dollars. All right, so I hope y'all enjoyed this video. You know, take this all within you and learn this as a lesson going into 2026, and I'll catch you on the next one.